Hello, everyone. Today, I'll be sharing what are the differences between Amazon store design strategies and those on domestic platforms. This is a common problem for many sellers transitioning from domestic platforms to Amazon, or simultaneously running domestic and cross-border e-commerce, where they easily copy experience and end up failing. Because at first glance, both have stores, both have pages, and can display images and modules. But once you've actually run it for a while, you'll find that Amazon's design is fundamentally different from domestic platforms. Below, I won't discuss design techniques, but rather break this down from three core differences: platform logic, user decision-making methods, and the weight given to store design. First, the conclusion. Amazon is not store-driven, but product-driven. This is the starting point for understanding all the differences. Domestic platforms, Taobao, Tmall, JD.com, Douyin, are centered around the store. Users will enter the store, will look at the homepage, will compare the overall feel. Amazon, on the other hand, is the opposite. It's a system centered around individual products. The actual user journey on Amazon is search, click on a listing, view reviews, compare specifications, place order. Many users never even visit your store homepage. This determines that Amazon's approach to store design differs from domestic platforms from the very beginning. Second, on domestic platforms, store design is the entry point. On Amazon, it's more like a supporting project. On domestic platforms, store homepage. First impression. Good or bad design directly affects whether users continue browsing. Therefore, on domestic platforms, the focus is on structure, atmosphere, rhythm, and overall trustworthiness. On Amazon, the real entry point is the search results page. The main battleground for decision-making is the product detail page, listing. Amazon's store design is essentially icing on the cake, not the entry point to a sale. Third, why do many domestic sellers make mistakes in their Amazon store design from the start? Because they are used to the thinking on domestic platforms. Common mistakes include treating your Amazon store like your official website, piling up brand stories on the homepage, designing it to look high-end and complete. But the reality is, users don't have time to look at it. They don't care who you are. They only care whether this one product is worth buying. On Amazon, excessive embellishment often equals ineffective investment. Amazon users' decision-making logic is completely different from that of domestic users. This is the second fundamental difference. Domestic users care more about overall feeling, brand atmosphere, emotion, and trust. Amazon users care more about whether parameters are clear, whether reviews are reliable, whether comparisons are convenient, whether information is verifiable. Therefore, on Amazon, abstract expressions have very low value. Emotional copywriting is almost ineffective. Looking high-end does not equal worth buying. Amazon users are more rational and calmer. The core of Amazon design is not actually on the homepage. This is very important. Within the Amazon ecosystem, the true decorative function isn't performed by the traditional store homepage, but rather by product main image system, A+ pages, brand content, listing information structure. These are the areas that truly influence conversion rates through visual and structural design. Amazon's focus on design is individual product page optimization, not overall image presentation. 6. Amazon design emphasizes standardization rather than personalization. This is something many domestic designers find most difficult to adapt to. On domestic platforms, styles can be very individualistic, visuals can be very prominent, expression can be very free. But on Amazon, page structures are highly similar. Visual expression is restricted by rules. The platform prefers a unified reading experience. What you can do isn't break through, but within the rules. clear, credible, favorable contrast. On Amazon, avoiding mistakes is more important than standing out. 7. So, is Amazon store design actually useful? Yes, but it needs to be placed in the right location. Amazon store design primarily serves the following purposes: brand endorsement support for product lines, unified display of multiple SKUs, supplemental support for advertising traffic. Its value often lies in customers have already purchased from you or have developed some trust in you. Being willing to browse more products. This is already mid to late stage value, not just a tool for converting first orders. Bait. When is it worthwhile to seriously invest in Amazon store design? When you start to see these signs: multiple stable SKUs, starting to run brand ads, repeat purchases and brand searches, hoping users will buy more items. At this point, the benefits of Amazon store design will gradually become apparent, helping users quickly understand the product line, improving brand consistency, increasing cross-selling, but it remains a supporting role, not the main one. IG. Practical advice for sellers. Transitioning from domestic to Amazon. If you're just starting out on Amazon, focus 70% of your energy on listings. Focus 20% on images and structure. Dedicate 10% to store design. Don't immediately adopt the mindset of domestic platforms and invest heavily in your store image. On Amazon, selling well is far more important than looking good. In short, Amazon store design is not a storefront for users, but rather a tool for existing, trusted users. Domestic platforms rely on browsing and feeling to close deals. Amazon relies on clear information and efficient comparison. Once you understand this fundamental difference, every bit of design investment you make on Amazon will be well placed.